Hello everyone and welcome to the Commando cast. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Mike, and today we're going to talk about what the new meta looks like. Well, hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to the Commando cast. It's been a few weeks for me, so I appreciate Andrew, you kind of keeping the lights on, and you guys have done some great content. So what'd you do this week in Destiny?
Well, we had our first constructed tournament of the meta in the area.
Yes,
or at least our first.
Yeah, it was just kind of real quick. Like, we did openings on Thursday night, and I know some people did some drafts on Friday in areas.
Yeah, there was a Thursday draft, a Friday draft, and a Saturday draft.
Yeah, and then we kind of took all of our stuff real quick and we just kind of threw it together. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I'm sure people have all done their own drafting, but how did you feel that the draft went just overall?
The set it does need the draft kit. Like, I know that's an easy answer, but it does, especially on the Sith. There were a lot of dead cards for Sith, right? Without Dooku. There are also some cards that are super powerful. Like, I know you weren't impressed with Mace. I think Mace is bonkers good in draft. K2SO is also bonkers good in draft, and Dengar is way better than I thought he was.
Oh, okay.
But we actually Alex and I did draft recaps.
Oh, good.
Don't want to rehash too much.
Yeah, I don't want to rehash too much. But I would say that I thought draft was very hard to draft, and the variance was super wide. Like, if one person happened to get just the right character,
I agree with.
And then all the cards were then live for him, and everyone else had to deal with the crap. So
yeah, and that's basically what we were saying with Maze, right? Like, if you drafted like the Jedi in the box, you got all the Jedi cards. Or if you drafted, right, like Dengar, the reason Dengar was so much better is because at the end everyone's passing around bounties, and he's like,
you're like bounty.
But you don't even need to take them early because you know they're going to come back around, right? So it's like you're in a really good position.
Well,
anyway,
draft. So yeah, that's all we're going to say about draft. But so we want to just kind of today talk about what we thought the early. We want to discuss a couple of the early power pairings.
Based on what we played. Right?
Well, based on what we played, yeah, correct. We're in, and I hope that we can experiment a little bit going in the weeks forward, like maybe playing some of these and bringing our thoughts back. I know I played Palp and Watto this week, and it was just really kind of by the seat of my pants. You know me,
And why Watto?
I just love the non-interactive money sides. I thought was real good, and spoilers, it was. It's pretty good. And what did you bring?
I ran Phasma Troopers. That was I had kind of said I was going to run that, and I showed up with Phasma First Order Stormtrooper, and then Advanced Training. Right. So
is Advanced Training it's a 2 cost?
Two cost. So it's exactly 30 points with Phasma the Trooper. Right. It's only a 3-die start, but it's really a 5-die start, right? And you have no blanks, so it doesn't stink.
Okay. Well, I'm curious on some of the choices that you thought. So I want to kind of just dive right into Phasma. So Phasma's the legendary character. When she activates, or she has a power action.
It's her power action,
right? That states you can roll in 2 First Order Stormtrooper dice.
Correct.
So in essence, for 21 points, she gets 4 dice. 4 dice. Yeah. Okay.
And over 2 activations, of course.
Right.
2
so
activations.
A slow 4 dice. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was curious because when I was just kind of toying with the deck, I didn't know whether I wanted to do the First Order Stormtrooper and then the plot. What's the plot that you used?
Advanced Training.
Advanced Training, yeah. Or to go for the Veteran Stormtrooper for the extra hit points and the more, the harder hitting side. So, what was your thoughts on that? Like, when you made that decision?
So not having blanks was the decision, right? Because at least the way we understand it now is that it's transitive, right? So the Advanced Training makes all of your blanks with 1 indirect, and then Phasma lets you resolve your damage sides as melee, right? So every die in your deck has 4 to 5 damage sides on it. It's
so the value over having an extra 2 hit points with a 3 indirect is just
because the way I viewed it is it doesn't matter. The way I view it is it doesn't matter who your minion is, because when Phasma goes down, you lose, and Phasma still has the same number of hit points regardless of who she's paired with. Okay. So, aside from the tricks like best defense and stuff like that can help pull the damage away, once Phasma goes down, you're done. Right. So I wanted to just go as aggressive as I could because it's really just a damage race, and it worked early meta, right? But again, we always know that aggro tends to be very strong early meta. So, it worked on Monday. we'll see if it works next month.
Now, did you play any focus tricks? Like, did you have any other than I think Phasma has a focus?
She has a 2 focus.
Yes, which that's pretty strong.
Because everybody has a 2 focus, right?
Did you play? I guess like the Senate chamber, like any stuff to help you fix some of these dice?
I played the Imperial Officer, which when it rolls in lets you flip a trooper die. Which is a 2, so it's kind of a Senate chamber, but it's a Senate chamber on activation, right?
Is that one that also lets you roll in another trooper? I saw you when you were playing. There was
Conscript Squad was my main offensive weapon, right? Conscript Squad with a leader is basically a upgrade. Because it's a support that goes down and play, but when you activate a leader, you can also bring in the Conscript Squad, right? And the Conscript Squad has a 1 base gun, a +2 gun, I think probably a disrupt, and then 2 blanks. So again, it's got 5 damage sides,
and it's a trooper,
Right, so it's a trooper, so it has 5 damage sides that are melee, and it's pretty good. And then just in case Phasma goes down, the Imperial Officer is a leader, so when the Imperial Officer comes in, you can roll in the Conscript Squad and then flip its die. Right, so...
And Riot Shield looked quite broken to me. Did it end up
I don't know
playing broken? I mean, not broken, but very strong for one resource, being able to eat 3 damage on both of your characters.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
it works at either one.
For a mini Force Illusion isn't bad, right? I mean, it's a better armor plating, which I used to run a lot of armor plating. I know it wasn't that popular because Force Illusion was a thing, but I used to still run a lot of armor plating. So then it's a better armor plating in that deck. So
I noticed you ran a card that I when I was doing all my sorting, I was I guess I passed it over a few times. We had a hard time pulling a lot of them, but I saw you play it. I believe it was Pulverize.
Oh yeah, that won me the final.
So can you tell our viewers what Pulverize is?
We'll show it here, right? But Pulverize is a 2-cost red card that lets you resolve 3 of your dice showing damage at +1. Right? And the reason that I have it in that deck, it's my tech for the deck, is you have a whole bunch of dice that are showing damage. And you can instantly... It's not that hard. Okay, so my opening move every turn, well, most turns, was to power action Phasma and get the 2 dice in the pool. That turns on Measure for Measure. It turns on a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So you get those out. Then you roll in Phasma. You have 4 dice that have multiple damage sides. It's not that hard to hit for 7 or 8 with Pulverize, just on action 3.
Does Pulverize interact with the blanks on the trooper dice?
Correct, because it's the same. It's the Atara Strike ruling all over again, right? It's the same thing that makes Phasma transitive, right? Okay. So your blank, which becomes a 1 melee, can then resolve for a 2 melee. Now, I don't think necessarily, I mean, again, +1 is +1. I don't think the best use of Pulverize is to resolve blanks for a total of 6. I think you want to use some of your 2s and stuff to try to hit for 7 or 8 or maybe even 9. 9's reaching.
But the minimum damage that you can do with that plot in play, and that is so, I don't know if you remember, but when we did regionals last year, not this one we just did, but I did the 5-die villain, and I figured out the free-for-all trick.
Sure.
Right? That was like my main finisher was free-for-all. So
which is a great finisher.
Right, yeah. It feels to me like basically a 6 damage, I can finish any game if I'm within 6 damage of the end with this, with her power action.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a great finisher. Like, I'm not going to argue with that, but I actually think it's better early because it helps you because it's targeted, so it helps you put that one character down. Like, and I said it won me the final. What I meant, like, the video's up. You can go back and watch the final, but it allowed me to put Padme down because I think I was able to put 4 damage on Padme the first round, going through some shields. And he wasn't too worried about... I mean, he knew she was in trouble, but he wasn't too worried because he knew it was going to take
He saw I have 7 health, and he did not see 7 damage on the table.
Correct. Okay. And then all of a sudden, boom. Because Pulverize is... I mean, as long as you're resolving 3 dice, Pulverize is a 2 for 3. It's what it is, right? So you can turn your 5 damage into 8.
Right. Which almost... There's very few characters that after the first round that you cannot put down with that. Like, almost, I mean, like, if I get you at 4, like you said, you could take any 12 health character out.
And he had put shields on her, and he was trying to protect her, and it just...
Right.
I mean, I had just enough to put her down, but, I mean, he's playing Padme Saw. I mean, bad politics, as I'm calling it, right? As soon as Padme goes down, I mean, Saw can still do work, but...
Yeah. I think Saw can finish the game at that point in the game.
But not in round 2.
Yeah, not in round 2. So.
Not on his own in round 2.
Would you say that was the MVP card? Or was it just that game that you really saw the most effect?
I like the tech in that card of that card, which is obviously why I'm running it. I mean, that deck makes like 0 money, so running a 2-cost event is kind of crazy town. But again, when it's doing that, I think it's fine.
I was watching you play at one point, and I saw you. I kept seeing you discard cards that weren't this 2-cost event that I couldn't figure out what it was because it was in your hand. You're moving around. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, what is that? And then I saw you like throw it down, and it was just bonkers. Like I was like, it didn't even occur to me that is it a neutral or is it a villain card?
I'm pretty sure it's villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Because I mean, I originally planned on using it in, and you know that's the thing. As the night we were playing this, the starter decks aren't released yet, right? So by the time this video goes up, the starter decks will have been released. But at the time of the tournament, they hadn't been. And originally, because I believe Pulverize is actually included in the starter deck, the villain starter deck. I believe. Like if I'm wrong, you can yell at me.
Yeah.
But I was thinking Grievous with 3 Commando droids because it's like Commando, Pulverize, and they've got 4 damage sides. So like Commando, Pulverize, you could potentially put 6 or 7 damage on somebody action 2.
Right. And I wonder if that deck, and we're jumping a little ahead, and we'll figure it out here maybe next week, but that deck, I remember when we were doing Battle Droids, the Battle Droids version that gives me nightmares that you and Amy run, runs no...
the little Battle Droids.
The little Battle Droids, yeah. It runs no upgrades, and it's all just like weird like events,
right.
Like so it becomes like a math problem. I wonder if that is the same idea. Like maybe you just run a couple of the like there's the new gun that if it's on a droid
that gun is so good
redeploys, right? But
yeah.
I wonder if it's just that kind of sweet, like where I'm like I don't even care about money because all I'm here to do is get to 25 damage as quick as possible.
Yeah, I mean in my initial binder list with those droids, I'm playing that plus the A300 or whatever, plus the E11 from Legacies just for 6 redeploy guns, which doesn't stink.
Okay.
But again, if you have Pulverize in your opening, like I said, Pulverize in your opening hand to just open up. I mean, even if you don't drop somebody, putting 7 or 8 damage on somebody action 2, like you're gonna have to play different as on the other side of the table. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I want to circle back after we talk about my deck and how it played. I want to talk about this a little bit again, but just to kind of put a pin in it. I was shocked in the final on Monday night when you went up against the Padme Saw deck. I thought that was a very I thought you were at a big disadvantage because you only have 19 health, and you won that game basically by taking down Padme pretty quick. So when we talk about how that same opponent went against me, I want to talk about that and some of the differences. So so I played Palp. And by the way, we're going to get back. I'm going to ask you after I'm done talking. I want to talk about how you think this deck's going to move in the go forward as it's going to get stronger.
Okay.
So Palp. I ran Palp, the new Palp Unlimited Power. He's an 18-point villain blue legendary. He is currently the most expensive, I believe.
$40.
Yeah, in the set. I was lucky enough to have some from our box openings, right? So I certainly don't own any. I was borrowing them. But Palp and then Watto, and you asked me why Watto,
right.
and Watto is mainly for the money ramp on him. I don't necessarily know if he's the answer,
because it's dual die Watto, right?
Dual die Watto, yeah, two full die, and I originally, like when we had first started building the deck during the TTS, I did actually play him on TTS, but early spoilers, I was running a lot of the cheap 1-cost upgrades, right? So I was doing 2 Malices and 2 Barterings and just anything I could get. Yeah, Force Jumps, two like, so basically as much cheap stuff as possible.
And that's why you went yellow, was for bartering?
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons I went into that. I also toyed with Delve into the Fist because I thought money was going to be a problem. Spoilers, it was not.
Right.
I read an article. And please forgive me, and maybe you could put who the article was by in the notes or something.
Sure.
But it was either Your Destiny or it was the Hyperloops. But they were talking about like their idea was for the right mix of force abilities for the Palp deck. So I got a chance to kind of look at what they thought and realize some of the stuff was actually a force ability. I'm like, oh, so I kind of went on a more balanced curve.
You're talking about, that was a Hyperloops article.
Yeah, that was, yes. So good job, you guys, because that was very helpful. For a novice deck builder, like to have kind of a starting spot was really helpful. So I didn't exactly adopt what they did, but I kind of took a more balanced approach. So I did like 3 1 costs and 3 2 costs and 2 3 costs and 2 4 costs. So I kind of went.
You kind of ramped your. I mean, you built your own cost curve within your deck.
Right. Instead of just going all cheap, and the reason why I felt that way is I wanted Palp to be able to really be more aggressive as opposed to just tanking up and then having a bunch of, because I think with just a ton of malices and barterings, like those are great, but they just give you more life, and they don't at the end of the game they don't finish anything.
Right.
So I was going more of like Sorasu Mastery and Force Storms. I ran 2 Force Storms, 2 Force Waves, Sorasu Mastery, actually 2 Sorasu Masteries. So I think I may have been running the most expensive deck that has ever been assembled in Destiny. It had the most ridiculous legendaries, but it was pretty effective, I have to say. It was pretty simple. You roll out Watto until he's dead. Like, I mean, if it was an indirect deck, all the damage went on to Watto.
Sure.
Right? He just was there to soak up damage, and then I quickly found myself with too much money, though.
Really?
That was the problem with the deck. I had too much money and not enough big removal. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit, is something I learned from playing the deck this week is the removal suite is weird.
No, you mean in this set?
In this set, right? So I was running Forsaken because I really like it, right? And with Palp,
because the card's amazing,
right? So in my basic strategy was, if I had a Forsaken in hand, I power action Palp's Force ability, and then I roll the single die in the pool, and it instantly puts Forsaken on. Right, it's now ready to go. It's on deck. So I liked that strategy. So I was running 2 Hidden Motives, 2 Forsakens. I was running 1 Entangle.
Okay.
I wish I had been running 2. I wish I had been running Beguiles.
Because people aren't going to go for Watto, right?
Yeah. And then that was my idea.
Right.
Entangle, because it's going to be live the entire game.
Right.
Just today, I decided to run No Questions Asked. Mm-hmm. Or is that's right?
Yeah, that's the blue. Remove any number of dice by giving them the equivalent amount of money. Right?
Correct. In 2 of my 3 games on Monday night, I had 9 resources on the third round. I couldn't spend my money fast enough.
Really?
I just couldn't.
Well, then that maybe indicates that you're not running enough abilities.
It's currently running. It's currently running 12 abilities.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. There's probably a tipping point where you start running out of money and clogging your hand, though, too, right?
Right.
It's probably around 14.
I didn't run the fist because I was tired of people looking at me, and I didn't want to be a jerk. With another fist
on the first night of
right.
The set.
Remind everybody why they don't like Star Wars Destiny right now because of the fist. So I ran Entourage because I thought it was interesting.
Okay. Run both.
Completely ineffective.
Really?
For me, and it may be because it just kept rolling not good. But it just every time I played Entourage, I wish I had a fist because I had the money. I could have
interesting
played it pretty easily.
Watto, Palp, you could almost run a weird merge hybrid support package because you've got the new Hired Muscle coming out in the draft kit, right? Mm-hmm. Which is also a scoundrel that can get tutored by the Entourage.
What's that one? Is that the one that has all the pace sides?
Yeah, but 2s and 3s and pace sides for a 1 cost.
Yeah, no, right. And like I said, I had so much. I would play every single upgrade on Palp, and there's something quite visceral about rolling out 9 dice. And there's a breaking point in that deck when I got down so turn 1, I played a Malice and a Bartering. Right, so I had 2. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not true. I played a Bartering, and because I was able to do the Bartering, I was able to play down a Force Lift, with Watto's.
Okay.
So I had 2 upgrades. So I played 4 cost. 4. I think Force Lift is a 3 cost.
It's a 3 cost. Yeah.
So I played 4.
2 indirects. I think a focus, another focus maybe.
And 2 specials.
And then 2 specials.
Yeah. Which is they're great. What was really cool though, the second set of 5 cards, I pulled both of his lightsabers. You start with 2 resources. So you play, I don't know if you've seen Palp's lightsaber, but if you play it down, it costs 2. You basically get a rebate equal to the number of force abilities you have up to 2, right? So I played 1 for 2, got my 2 back. Next action, played 2, got my money back. I still have 2 resources, and now I've got 2
upgrades,
2 laser swords,
and really good laser swords.
Yeah. So that happened, and that was really cool. That game, I actually finished the game with 2 lightsabers, 5 force abilities, and Palp's dice. So I was rolling 9 onto the table.
So I do want to interject real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
With a funny story, right? So we had a brand spanking new player show up on Monday, right? And we're like, okay, we'll teach him as we play the tournament, right? So he gets paired up with me first. So I spent my entire first round not resolving my blanks as indirect and not resolving my guns as melee because I didn't want to confuse the hell out of them. Right, because you're trying to teach them, it's like, oh yeah, well, guns and melee, they're effectively the same, but they're different. Right. But also, I can now resolve blanks as melee. I'm just like, let's just not do this.
Could you have found a more a new player unfriendly deck
so
if you tried?
I'm saying, so he had that, and then you're over there when we're trying to teach people that they can have usually a maximum of 5 dice. And Mike's over there like,
yeah, it was
welcome to Destiny, son.
Yeah. What's so funny because I thought this was going to be an excellent spot to introduce new players, and they did a really good job of introducing some really neat some really neat game concepts, like the idea of giving Phasma having her cost so much, but then giving her 2 more dice, but it slows her down. Like there's a give and take there to that. You roll in those 2 stormtrooper dice, they go blanks, but then you still have cards that can play off those, right?
So I don't know that it does slow her down though, right? Because let's say she was less costed, and you're running. You're still spending an action to get more dice into the pool.
When if you're running a mid 2 dice and 2 dice, it would take you 2 actions to get both characters in.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, and really, even if you're doing nothing except for activating, you have 5 dice in the pool after 3 actions.
Yeah, not bad.
It doesn't stink.
It doesn't suck.
Right.
It doesn't suck.
So, but that's you have to move fast in that deck. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But anyway.
The fact that they didn't reprint Feel Your Anger for this set really hurts my feelings, because that would be really fun with all the blanks that are being thrown around.
Yeah. Well, there's that card that removes 2 blanks, so.
That's. Oh, yeah.
It's from Legacies, I think. No, I think it's from.
I think it's Cross Galaxies.
I think it might be Way of the Force. Anyway,
and it looked like it. I was like,
Well, the only reason it looked bad is because you're like, well, that's not Feel Your Anger.
Right. I also forgot there's going to be a character that's going to be able to roll out 2 first Stormtrooper dice. So, right. So I did okay. I did 2 and 1. How did you? You said you.
I won. Yeah.
You won. You did 3-0. So, I guess going forward. How do you feel the power level is? And then, is there anything that you came home and you're like, I'm gonna make this little tweak, and it's gonna crank it up half a level?
Well, I don't plan on playing that deck next week because I want to try something else.
Right.
That said, I think Phasma Troopers is going to be a thing for the rest of the meta.
Right.
I do want to try the problem. I want to try Phasma with Retribution, and I was thinking the Executioner. Right, okay. So 21, Executioner's 8, right. And then you can run Retribution, and then anytime a die is removed, you deal a damage, which is basically what you're getting off your blank anyway. But then you have blanks to worry about, because advanced training is what turns them into indirect, right? So I don't know. The fact that Phasma is so anti-mill, which is fantastic, because that Leia Lando deck is going to be just gross, right, in this meta. Yeah. So having Phasma as an anti-mill, I don't know. I think it's probably too early to use the word gatekeeper, and I generally don't like that term anyway. But Phasma First Order, if you can't deal with that,
if you can't take 10 damage to the face round 1 and still be playing your game, then you can't play.
Well, honestly, yeah.
Right.
I know that sounds like a ridiculous statement, but you're gonna have to deal with aggro. I would be very interested to see Phasma Troopers versus Vader. I'd like to see that. I'd actually like to play that matchup. Maybe we'll stage a game and see how that goes.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. But I think it's going to be around. It's not getting any worse. It's just once you start, I mean, eventually the meta is going to move to 3 wides. I mean, we already had people playing. I mean, it is, right?
Well, you have to forgive Eric. He cannot help himself. He will play 3 wide, and it will have the fist in it, and it will be a support deck.
And that's not a shot. I'm just saying, like, we saw a 3 wide support deck on week 1, right? And it wasn't even, like, the good one, right? So
yeah, and those only just get stronger. I mean, those start off stupid weak because it takes so long to set up, and then aggro is so strong.
I mean, well, and the reason those decks get so much better over time is all the good players. Everyone's like, all right, well, here's my core, and you get the 24 cards that are good, and then they're like, oh man, that guy also ran this card, that works really well, and then all of a sudden this deck becomes optimized, and like with the collective play hours of the group, like it can happen in like 3 to 4 weeks, right? So, all right. So I think it's gonna have a hard time with that because like, oh well, boom, I just blew Watto down. Like, okay. Great.
I think that might be where Executioner might be an interesting call, where it could help. I mean, and I know not having dual Executioners cuts down that output, but I mean, if it is interesting to get 2 more bonus damage right out of that. And if you run,
well, maybe. I mean, but again, those blanks don't count anymore. So, and he has that pay side, which
because you said the money that really hurts on the money.
Well, because you're not making money. Right. I mean, if you're rolling a money and taking it, you're taking 1 to 2 damage off the table. Right?
Okay.
Which is actually hurting your win condition.
Right.
Because your win condition is hit you before you hit me, right? So, or hit you faster than you hit me.
So there's some people that think you're an idiot because you think Phasma's strong.
Okay. Fair enough.
I disagree with them, and I after watching it played, I think it does one of the most powerful things in Destiny, which it does a lot of damage out of hand. Like it has some tricks. With red villain, you get a lot of different. I think some. I would call them sudden damage, like just where you thought you were good, and all of a sudden you are not good anymore.
Did you see my second game? Because I was playing in second game. I was playing Braven, which was Qui-Gon and Ahsoka.
Right.
And I blew Ahsoka off immediately, which I don't. In retrospect, I don't know. Anyway, point of where I was going was. I won the game on a make demands. He ran out of money, and I played make demands. He didn't have money to give me, and I dealt 2 damage.
So make demands.
It's you spot a leader.
Right.
And it's a 1-cost red villain card. Spot a leader to force an opponent to give you $1 or deal 2 damage to the character.
Oh.
So if they're out of money, I mean, it's kind of like a weird lightsaber throw.
No, but I mean that's really that's damage out of hand. Right. You don't even have to be showing anything, right? At least lightsaber throw you could see coming, sort of. Like
but lightsaber throw you didn't have to worry about them not having money. So I mean, you have to still play around it. That was the only time I used it was for the win though.
Okay.
So it was a dead card in most other matches. So I don't know about that one. I'd love to be able to play Mega Blaster Troopers in that deck, but
you said you're just money.
How are you going to afford it? Like,
Mega Blaster is 4 cost, right?
4 cost.
4 cost. Yeah. All right, maybe splash yellow and delve into it.
Yeah, but then I don't know how you're getting your advanced training. Although maybe then you don't care anymore. But then no, I think you need to.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, right?
No, I mean, like I said, I think there's a lot of places to go with Phasma. I'm not saying she's the best in the meta. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But no, Phasma's a lot better than I think a lot of people are giving her credit for.
Okay.
So,
all right. Is there any cards that you think that you would like to right now? You're going to go back and add them for the next time you play it.
I would like to see more dice in the deck somehow. Maybe I'll play around with 2-cost guns. I mean, it doesn't even matter whether they're redeploy or not.
So E11s and maybe the new.
Yeah, I mean that new A300 brings a black side to the table. Right. Or 2 black sides to the table actually. Now the reason I was steering away from the guns is because they're not trooper dice, so their blanks are actually blanks.
Okay.
Which I guess isn't that big of a deal, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But how about Palp? I mean, the same question back at you. What would you do different?
I need with having so much money, like I did for the most.
Let's assume going forward you're going to run Fist though.
Right. Yeah. Fist. And I know people are very excited about Entourage, and I'm sure in certain decks it's going to be very good.
I think in Snoke decks it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It has a 2 money side.
It just did not go. It just didn't work for me. And I don't know if it was just I got unlucky on that night, but I did play it both of them one time. Mm-hmm. Like in consecutive, actions, like that was pretty cool. I just felt like there was better options. The deck really needs some mass removal. So, in my third game that I played, or my second game that I played with against the Padme Saw player, Derek, I got caught with like the wrong removal because I didn't have mastery, but I had the wrong removal, and he dealt 12 indirect to me round 1, and that hurt a lot.
Did you put Watto at 8?
Yeah, so I put Watto at 8 and did the damage, and then it was more than I could overcome for me. So I needed a way to deal with the 3s. I needed a way to deal with whatever dice I wanted, because then I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just run in the crosshairs, right? But some of that damage was mixed. So I don't know if in the crosshairs is the right idea or no questions asked. No questions asked is more flexible. In the crosshairs is crazy powerful, right? Like but it takes the right rollout for that to really go down.
Right.
So that was my idea. I wanted. I'm also not 100% sure Watto is the right.
Well, it's an I hadn't. I'll be honest, hadn't actually considered Watto, and that's an interesting idea. I just don't like that if Palp. I mean, but you're in this kind of the same boat where if Palp goes down, you just.
Well,
GG,
my idea was when I was going to run Fist before I was trying to be a nice guy. I'll play Fist and then Watto can finish the game with Fist.
You go. I mean,
and entangles.
Watto have focus?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a really bad 2 disrupt side, and then 1 discard, and then 3 money, a blank. He's a really cool character. I don't necessarily like the idea that you can't interact with his dice with removal cards. That was kind of just that sucked. His power action is very interesting. I think people don't realize what his power action can do. I don't know. I'm not sold on that though. I don't know if he's the right character. Like it could be a red character to give you access to some red cards.
That's kind of what I was thinking, but and for best defense and stuff, just to take the heat off, right? But is crash landing still a thing? But,
right. Yeah. Sebulba, I think Sebulba is very interesting too. He's 12 points, has 2 good damage sides, so he actually can finish the game.
Sebulba always wins seems to be the new potential spice, right?
Right. So. I was actually disappointed because I thought Sebulba's special could put a resource on any card. It can only put it on a support. So I originally thought, I'm going to use it to put it on counters on Force Storm.
Oh,
but it doesn't work. Gotcha. So that's what I'm going to change. I think the deck is going to be. You're going to see a lot of it.
It's going to be popular. It's going to be fun.
It's funny. I went 2-1 in 2 of the games I won pretty easily. The 1 game I lost. I never pulled a Bacta therapy 1 time in any of the games.
That's the one that heals up to 5 damage, right?
And I think that it's like a Rise Again,
right?
For
not rising again, and it's
for 2.
Yeah.
So, I think it's gonna be strong. But I'm excited. I'm with you though. I'm ready to move on to something else. My staff droids and assassin droids are coming in. By the time this hits, they'll be in my hot little hands, and I'll be
the starter. I mean, that was a weird thing is without having the starter decks, like you had to be a little more picky and choosy with what you ran. But I don't know. I mean, it was fun.
Cool. So what are you looking forward to this next week? What are you gonna do?
So we are doing a we're doing a learn to play this weekend, and then just some casual play, and then we'll have the Smugglers Run Monday Night Dice, and then that's basically what we'll be reporting on. So it's just one more casual tournament looking.
So if you somehow found this video because you're interested in Star Wars Destiny and you're in the greater Portland area, go check out the Gungai Games. It is a learn to play.
This one's actually being hosted by Dice Commando.
Oh, Dice Commando. Okay, it's at Gungai.
Yeah, right. Gungai's letting us use their space,
which is super cool. And you don't need to worry about bringing anything. You don't have to own anything. You'll get provided everything to learn and play the game. So we just want to have you. So if you somehow stumble upon
the disclaimer though is I'm not being cool like Mike. You don't get to keep your stuff. So I need my teaching decks. So.
Right. Yeah, so that's very cool. I love anytime we can get new players. We've actually had kind of a weird influx of new players. It's interesting as a quasi merchant to see someone who comes in and isn't kind of doesn't know the game, and then you see them the second week they have 2 cases on their shoulders and 4 starters. And you're like, yep, did it. That's it.
Well, and we're not doing the learn to play by accident. They're having a huge HeroClix tournament at that day, so I'm trying to put it in front of them. Right, we know we're going to have access to 60 to 70 gamers.
Right.
So I'm trying to get it in front of their faces.
Oh, nice.
Right? So
Good.
that's the strategy. So
choice. Okay.
figure we'll put some yellow, red, and blue shiny dice out there and see if we can get anybody who doesn't want to move their clicks around the board.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very good. So this week for me, just more. We're just doing some standard on Monday. We actually had an interesting idea that we're toying with. Trademark this idea is for me. But we have a ton of unopened packs from the new set Convergence that are rares, and we know it.
Because you opened the 6 legendaries and you knew what was left in the box.
Correct. So we have all these packs that we have left over from opening for singles and sets. And our idea is when the draft kit comes out, we're going to do basically a popper seal. So it's $8 for 8 packs.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a way to trap, because I figure by the time this stupid draft set comes out,
4/16, 4/18, something like that, right?
I would. The date I saw today was still 1/1/2029.
Oh. Okay, so I had heard the 18th.
That's a rumor. I mean,
okay. Well,
yeah. So let's say it's out in a month. Just right. Let's just say it's out in a month. I feel like the people that are going to want to draft will have already drafted and have the stuff. The drive to spend to spend $20-$25 on a draft event is going to be less. So I figured it'd be a good way for us to try out the kit. Try out the kits in a cost-effective way. So
sure, that's kind of cool, and it's sealed too. That's interesting.
Yeah, so we'll do the 8 packs of sealed. So don't steal that, anybody in Portland. Anywhere else can take it. I don't care, but
yeah.
So eight packs, and then you have the new what's it called? Allies of Necessity.
Allies of Necessity.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, very cool. It'll be good. And then do you want to do a shout out for the Artificery / Portland Game Store crew? They're kicking off their Escalation League on Friday night, which is the day after the starter deck release. So you can show up with any any standard legal starter deck. Right. So any white box starter deck. And then I think you play with just the starter deck the first week, and then each week you add a pack.
Yeah, and it's the same rules as standard as sealed, so none of the hero villain stuff. You don't have to worry about it, which I think is great. I wish PGS wasn't
on the other side of town.
Because I would totally be there. But for those of you that live in the city, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where because you're only adding a pack a week, and I'm sure they'll let you play catch up anyway. Like if you miss a week, just go play some Destiny. Like, who cares if you're winning the league or not? Well,
yeah, and we did that with ours even. Like, if you came on the third week, we just let you buy back.
Yeah, just play catch up
to the top. So it was pretty cool.
I mean, it's not like a store's not going to let you buy products.
Yeah, no doubt. That's true.
So, all right, yeah, that's pretty much what we got going. So, I don't know. Do you have any other final thoughts? Anything else?
I put a pin in something and I didn't take it out.
Okay.
So those are OCD people that are watching on YouTube. So we faced the same opponent. Right. The Padme Saw player, he put me down really hard. And I thought he was going to put you down really hard because you only had 19 hit points and you wasted him. So you handled your business very efficiently. So,
but that was hard aggro versus hard aggro.
Okay.
And I'm going to out aggro him.
So that was really the sauce there. You out aggroed him.
Right. It's not really a sauce. It's battle plan or fail.
Win condition met.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I want to talk about one more thing, and I know that our video is going a little long, and I apologize for that. So
I'm sure they'll forgive us.
Yeah. So feed.
Oh, that's right. So as of 2 days ago, we had all of the RG updates come out, and you know what? Props to FFG. They got it out within a week of the release.
My brains are splattered all over somewhere because I can't believe it.
Yeah. So, aside from the huge list of characters that have been, infinite holocroned, or infinite balance of the Force, which is interesting.
Another kudos to you, FFG, for not forgetting those people that want to play.
Where's the app? That's what I want to know. But, they added subtypes to a whole bunch of cards that needed them retroactively, but good luck remembering all that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. Most of them are pretty... it makes sense, right? Like, Phasma's a trooper, and she's a leader too, but she's a leader trooper in the new set too, right? So
that's going to make for some interesting interplay now all of a sudden.
We'll see. Anyway, but yeah, so Theed. So the Theed nerf, we all knew it was coming. We didn't know what it was, but now it is remove a die to gain a resource, and then all the text is the same. You still spot a neutral character, take ambush. So Go ahead.
So I was on the drive over here, and I was listening to our brothers back east on the Hyperloops.
Oh, okay.
And they were dumping all over Theed. Like, Joe was having a conniption fit about how bad Theed was, just how awful.
I don't think it's that bad.
Right. So, and I agree with him on, like, there are some decks when it would be really bad, like Han Kira. All of a sudden, you're not going to want to trade like one of your dice.
Oh, he's right there. And don't get me wrong. Like, those guys obviously are very good players.
Right. But I instantly thought,
I don't think it's a dead battlefield.
I instantly thought of your deck when you roll out like all of these dice. You're just like you're vomiting dice onto the table that are relatively tame dice, right?
Sure.
It's a blank. You hit and you suffer for money, so you hit that power action, you get 2 dice. You have the measure for measure play instantly, right? And then now all of a sudden you can actually, if you have Theed as a battlefield, you can actually take that resource with that blank and maybe use that for ramp. So look, I bring that up because I thought that might be an interesting play.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Salt Flats is also very interesting just because you can spot a leader and turn whatever.
Is fantastic. Yeah. But I'm using the military camp on collar or something. Because then I can just
2 non-uniques.
And nobody let me take it all night, which was absolutely the correct thing to do. Right? Because Phasma's still only rolling them 3 dice for the roll-off. Like, you're not winning the roll-off with Phasma, right? But you play military camp, and they're like, I'm not going to let you roll in both your guys with a reroll. Like, they're just like, no.
So in your opinion?
But I think the Theed nerf just shifted Vader Greedo to Vader Shifter, right? Because it's respite.
Vader's ship.
It's respite.
Right. Now,
the only or Jawa
Vader Gray, because we were playing
it's actually not. There is a right answer here, and it's Shapeshifter, because the Jawa has a gun, a 2-for-1 gun, and the Shifter has an indirect and a 2 indirect, not a pay side. There is a right answer, and the right answer is Shifter.
Well, and the ability to make her. I'm sorry, I don't mean to assume the shapeshifter gender, but like it allows you to name a subtype, and a lot of those cards that are hard to use kind of become useful.
Right. Now, do remember that you need to roll her in before you declare what her faction is or her allegiance is, right? But I think it makes it a lot better because it used to be get that opening respite and you were set, and now it's really the same. You just have to roll her in. So, but I think it's kind of cool because, and I'm not saying Vader Shifter is going to be like the deck, right? But I think it's a really cool play that gets added because now you have to actually make the decision as the person playing is like, oh man, do I remove the Shifter die to prevent him from getting Vader's lightsaber down? I think there's a real interesting play dynamic there, and I'm not saying they specifically made this change for that deck, but I think that deck adds a really cool little like play interaction back and forth.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. I'm gonna go raise all the prices for my Shifter pre-orders.
Yeah,
real quick.
Fair enough.
You brought that up, but no, I think.
Well, she's in the draft kit.
Yeah, but you'd be shocked.
Sorry. All right, fair enough.
So yeah, no, I agree with you. I think I didn't actually think about Shifter, so I can't agree with you on that. But I think that Theed. I know people are upset because it took away their favorite like broken toy. But
I'm not sorry.
Not sorry. It does exactly what I think it's going to do. Exactly what they hoped it would do. It's going to create more diversity in the battlefields, and also you're going to see a lot more people taking shields and making that. It was a non-decision before. It was like I'm taking my Theed and that's it. Right. So now there's a decision again, and I think that's what they were trying to go for, which I think is super important. Right. One more thing. Palp and Watto, I want you to look at their value for the roll-off.
For roll-in? No, it's 2-2-2-1-1-0, and then what's Watto? He's
2-1-1-2-2-1 blank, or it's 3 2s, 2 1s, and a blank.
Oh, so they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
really high. Like it's 5.
So it's 5.5, 5.66, right? Yeah. 5.66. Is that right?
It's quite high, which I thought was an interesting. And I mean, before Theed got adjusted, that was kind of like, I'll take Theed and then instantly get that other resource. And play Force Waiver.
And there are a lot. We haven't seen an influx of battlefields this good since, honestly, Awakenings, the original set. I mean, because like
playable, like actually, impactful battlefields.
Rebel War Room was around forever. Emperor's Throne Room was around for like those had like the Salt Flats is really good.
Yeah.
This military camp in the obviously in the right deck is always a disclaimer with the battlefield, but like Salt Flats is really good. Military Camp I think is really good. I'm not totally sold on the Scoundrel one that, you know, you play some money on it. It's like you play some money on it, and if you spot a Scoundrel, you can play an event.
Yeah, that's weird. What a weird confluence of events that you're ready to claim and have an ability to, like an event to play.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna claim early and then play my Electroshock, and it lets you play an Electroshock for one less, I guess, or whatever, right? But anyway, there's several strong battlefields in this set, and I don't know, I think that's cool.
Well, and we're about to see 2 battlefields that actually say specific characters coming out in tomorrow. Well, with the new starter kits.
Oh, right.
The Satine battlefield.
That was the one I was counting. The Grievous battlefield I think is really good. I think you're going to see a lot of that because it's no secret that Afra Grievous droids is going to be in deck at least originally, right? So, I mean, the Grievous battlefield's pretty good, right, even if you're not playing Grievous, but really good if you're playing Grievous. So
yeah. Because that one's do an indirect, or if you spot Grievous,
do an indirect to your opponent unless they give you $1, and in either case you're like, sure,
right,
or if you spot Grievous, to just do a damage. They don't get an option; it's just do a damage to a character to which you get to choose. So
gotcha.
Yeah, not bad. So
I agree. Battlefields are kind of fun again. I'm happy about the nerf. I know not everybody was, but
yeah, I mean. I think I think it needed it, right? And we all knew it was coming, so it came at the right time. The LAAT change was obviously needed to be done, right? It just makes it roll in and resolve. It does make it a little weaker. It's not as bad as it could have been.
Still fun though.
Yeah,
it's still interesting.
It's fine. I mean, it stinks that like a lot of the trooper die have 2 blanks. I mean, Kess doesn't, but again, if you have to roll him in, like say you're rolling him in, I mean, if he's your only last die, like he actually has 3 blanks because he's got focus. So I don't know.
But the lat die still rolls itself back in.
So it does. Even if it only has 2 damage sides.
But even if you do the focus, even if you do the special and then roll in a trooper die and it rolls a blank and you remove it. Like, the lat die rolls back in again.
Right.
So it potentially could let you try it. I mean, it could potentially roll special again.
Sure.
Does it have 2 specials and one of them is a pay side?
Yeah, 2 specials, 1 pay side. And it has no blanks.
I hate the pay side special.
Yeah, the pay side.
Maybe it's my inner Force Wave person. Like,
yeah, well, and I mean, sometimes you have to make the decision, I think, there. Because, like, I don't know that all of your dice... There's several cards in this set that make you pay 1 resource to roll a die back in, right? And, like, there's several die that I don't know that are worth $1. But, I mean, anyway, they fixed an infinite combo, and like it or not, like, they came out years ago and said that we will not support infinite combos for negative play experience. Like, it doesn't matter how hard they set up. They said they weren't going to support negative play, or they weren't going to support infinite combos. So they took care of that. And then the obvious one on Unetti Forestry, which, like, come on, people. Like, why do you got to be like that? Like,
it was a misprint, and we're sorry. Like, yeah, that was, like, how that happened. But, so, yeah. Well, good. Well, we have to keep this under an hour, so otherwise I think they come for us. So, anything else you want to add today?
No, I'm enjoying the new set. I'm looking forward to it. Go out, play some new stuff, and see how it works, because there's a lot of interactions in this set that I don't think we've completely wrapped our heads around yet. So you're gonna have to explore to find it.
Cool. All right. Well, on that note, I'll say go Commando.
If you like what we're doing here on Dice Commando, though, give us a like.
So go Commando. Like and subscribe.
Right. Hit the little button.
Crush the melee button, as they say. Please like and subscribe. We want to keep doing this. We do it for you, so please do that.
And now with that said, go Commando.
Go Commando.